I'm Samantha Brown, professional organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created Pro Organizers Coach podcast to empower you to reach new heights in your business. I am on a mission to build a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just getting started, this podcast is for you. Welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast and YouTube channel. Today I have Ryane LeCesne with me. Ryane is the Advanced Accelerator Coach, and since 2012, she has coached nearly 1,000 high-achieving women to advance their professional dreams by overcoming and healing from the self-limiting mindsets of things we are very familiar with around here: imposter syndrome, perfectionism, and distractionism. Ryane understands how frustrating it is to have followed the quote-unquote blueprint to success only to feel like you secretly lack the 3 C's: clarity, confidence, and courage to advance your career and build your dream business on your terms. She knows what it feels like to have done everything right and still feel stuck and trapped, second-guessing yourself and your dreams. She also knows the mindset required to take big, bold action in the face of your fears. Her coaching process is evidence-based, holistic, transformational, and proven to be instrumental in helping high-achieving women like yourselves advance. She is the wife of a very loving and supportive super guy and mommy to a very special love bug, and a graduate of Spelman College and Georgetown University.
While that resume might sound like I've done a lot of things, which I've been blessed to do and to touch a lot of lives, I also have been riddled with the 3 confidence killers: perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and distractionism. We're going to talk a lot about that today, and my own personal hurdles with those mindsets, with those very fixed, limited BS belief systems that stand in the way of many, many high achievers. So I am the full package. I am high achieving, just like your audience. And behind that mask, there's that fear that I've learned to wrestle with and overcome.
That's kind of what we're going to talk about for you all today, is how to advance your business, your beliefs, your professional dreams, all the things. We're going to talk and start with the 3 essential tools that you need to advance your professional dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are the 3 tools that within my practice, within my coaching practice, I really focus on making sure that clients are themselves working on. And that is the first, to support people close their confidence gaps. And when I'm talking about a personal confidence gap, I'm talking about that experience that we have when we have a great idea, or just an idea in general, and then the 80,000 reasons why we shouldn't do it, right? That gap that's created, and how to navigate the terrain of that gap in a more successful, more optimized way is what I help people do. Because fear, false evidence appearing real, is going to be part of any human process, any process the human being is taking place doing. There's going to be inherently some sense of, can I do it? And there's going to be some belief that needs to either be questioned or overcome. So it's a natural part of the experience, particularly as an entrepreneur when you're creating something from the ground up. It's your vision. It's your experience. And so it's really looking at how to manage fear, create a different relationship with fear than it is to actually eradicate fear. We can eradicate a belief. You can no longer believe that you are unworthy of success. However, at the next level of like, ooh, maybe I should add this to my business, there's going to be an inherent, can I do it? No problem, right? That's the human experience. That's that experience of being spiritual being in a human earth suit. No problem. Just how to handle that. The second piece is to really identify, support a person in identifying their personal brand. And what I define as your personal brand is your brilliance. What are your strengths? What are your core values? What are your true desires? What's your vision for your life? What brings you joy? What do you love? So often we are one, denying ourselves of that true, authentic experience. And two, we've been socialized to not even really oftentimes be aware of that. And yet I have a very strong inkling that your target audience, because they're listening to this specific podcast, they're clear on, ooh, there's something about supporting people and organizing that really feels aligned, personal brilliance. I feel like I can do this. I feel like I understand it. This is your, i.e., this is your brilliance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the fear comes in, and that's set managing that last piece. So then the third step is really creating a lifestyle that's reflective of your brilliance. So it is creating either, in this case, really a business that's reflective of your brilliance. And when we're talking about that, particularly for entrepreneurs, this can be a point where people can get really tripped up because they understand, or they get a sense that I know I'm in my purpose. I get it. Like, I'm doing the things that bring me joy. And now I'm supposed to be the CEO of this business. I'm supposed to charge people. I'm supposed to communicate my value proposition. I'm supposed to, look at a landscape of competitors and differentiate myself. These can be things, the aspects of running a business that can really throw someone because it can feel counter to your passion or counter to who you see yourself being, is stepping into the CEO role. And that third piece is something that's really, really important, creating a lifestyle, a livelihood that's reflective of your brilliance. So those three pieces are those three essential tools that I help clients to really hone and master and work on.
Yeah, I love that. And first off, that personal confidence gap, right? Like when you're in the very, very beginning, of course, you have that fear and that, maybe imposter syndrome, or that I'm not sure, whatever that gap looks like for each one of us. Whenever we get to that place, of course it's there because we've never done this before. And so anything new that we are trying, something's going to rise up that we are going to have to get over, walk through, figure out a way around, whatever that looks like, depending on what it is that we're trying to, get accomplished. But specifically in a business like what we're doing, like you said, it's our calling. We feel called to help people. We know that that's what we're meant to do. And then we start trying to step into it. And then exactly what you said with like part 2 of the personal brand. Then all of a sudden you have to start looking at yourself and being like, okay, well, what do I want? What do I like? Who am I meant to help? And a lot of my listeners know I 100% agree with the fact that, like, finding a niche and your ideal avatar, I understand what people are saying when they say those words. But I think a lot of times some of those words sound so scary, or they sound almost like, well, how am I supposed to figure that out? I've never even worked with a client. So like, how would I know? And then a lot of us can get stuck in those places instead of realizing, wait, it's okay to just take a few steps, figure it out as I go. And I tell my clients all the time, and my members and my listeners, take some steps, figure it out. If you figure out that you like something, great, go more for that. If you don't, then that's okay. Pivot, pull it back off of your website as a service that you offer, and start talking about something else more, which goes into step 3 of creating that lifestyle and being very intentional now about planting the seeds, knowing what it is that you are trying to achieve for the next phase that you are stepping into. I think a lot of times we're so stuck in where we are in this moment instead of looking at, well, what do I want next year to look like? I know I can get through this year. I know I can, all of these foundational pieces, I will get them accomplished and I will start getting clients. But once I do, what's that kind of like bigger dream? What do I, are my goals more so I can be home more? Well, if so, then how do I set my business up in a way that I can accomplish those goals? Because one thing I've learned is that however we set it up, it's our business. However we set it up, that is how it's going to be, which sounds, crazy to be like, well, of course that is. But you don't really give it that much thought because at first you're like, oh, give me any client, anytime, any time of day, I'll answer any questions, And that's good too. But at some point, you have to get very intentional about what do I want my life to look like so I can enjoy what I'm doing and I can enjoy my life and the steps that, like, why are we doing this if it's not to have fun and to enjoy our day and to bless others and to help ourselves and to spend time with family and being able to do those things that still really matter to us.
A trillion, bazillion percent, everything that you said, from the very beginning pitfalls of step number one, this idea of confidence gap. I've never worked with a client. How do I make this happen? What do I do? Who am I? To the next layer of like, well, what do I really want this to look like? To the third layer of what I want to actually create and I get, right? I mean, and what is so fascinating about this discussion and about what you laid out is, from a technical standpoint, and I was sharing this with someone yesterday, from a technical standpoint, owning a business, really, it's like not hard, right? Particularly our kinds of businesses, right? Service-based business, where if you can literally check Facebook, if you can, meaning the process, like you can go online, you can look at the app, you can, like something, post something, you can do the technical aspect of it. If you can figure out how to manage an email system of any sort and manage a calendar system of any sort. And if you've ever used PayPal for anything and you have a skill set to do something, bake a cake, organize a closet, coach someone, be someone's doctor. You have like a lexicon that you're speaking, a talent of some sort. Essentially, you have a business. That's it. Technically speaking, you've got a business. Here's where it gets to be like super dicey, is the fixed mindset. And this is a habit. This is a way of being. This is a way of believing about ourselves. If the person who can do all these technical things also has a thought of, I'm supposed to already know, I should already have done this, I should already be making $1 million, everybody should already know who I am, I should already be at the end vision, I shouldn't actually be doing calendaring, that's the dumbest thing in the world. Why would I do that? I should be doing anything. Should. That level of conversation. So what I'm saying is, it's the inner dialogue that makes life, i.e. business ownership, so challenging. It's not the technical pieces. It's the approach to the technical piece. For a person like us, if someone feels like, oh my gosh, what is imposter syndrome? And I'll go into some of the details about what the experience is of those mindsets. And if someone identifies with them, so for instance, let's say perfectionism, and this is really interesting as an organizer. So someone might say, I'm not a perfectionist because my whole thing is like trying to organize. That's like the whole thing. I'm driven to like help people organize because it's such a hard thing for me. And I've learned this technique to like organize this thing. And so it's through this hurdle of self triumph that I'm able to do this thing. So certainly I couldn't be a perfectionist, right? Because things don't turn out perfect. Well, that's not a perfectionist. A perfectionist is a person who actually, the pervasive, disempowering thought is, until I'm perfect, until my business is perfect, until I understand what my avatar is, until I understand what my total client is, until I know those people, until I have the system in place, until I can read this book and regurgitate all the steps, until I've done all the KonMari things, until whatever, until then, my business isn't ready. I'm not ready. I can't be seen. I have to hide. I can't tell people what I do. I can't really step into this. That's perfectionism, right? And that level of thinking every single time, no matter what the task is going to make that task 1,000 times more difficult if it's already supposed to already been perfectly done. Really hard to say, hey, actually, this task is calendaring. I don't know anything about Acuity, and that's okay. I can do hard things, and it's on the list of priorities to do today, and I'm going to be open about it. I'm not going to remember that back in the 3rd grade, I had this really traumatic experience where I unconsciously decided I'm a failure, and I don't see anything through that lens. I see the lens through like faith and optimism. Business would be so easy, right? It's the mindset piece. So imposter syndrome looks like, I know I've done all these things. I know I've got like 10 clients under my belt that I've worked with. Maybe they haven't really paid me. Maybe they have, but whatever it is, I don't feel like I'm enough. People are going, the next person that calls me is going to know that I actually don't have my closet cleaned, or that I haven't gotten to it yet, or haven't read the book, or my business isn't, whatever it is, they're going to find out that I'm not enough to be in this space, and they're going to call me out. Distractionism is this idea. Now, I'm going to also say that if one were to Google perfectionism and imposter syndrome, you would get scores of Google searches. If you search distractionism, you won't find it, except for maybe under some inspired things, because it's a term that I coined about 5 years ago because of my experience and the experience I was hearing from all these high achieving, amazing women who said things like, I'm constantly overwhelmed. I feel like I'm completely scattered with my time, with my energy. I know what I want to do, and I get that I'm perhaps maybe even smart, but I can't figure out how to do things like take a shower every day and have the grocery stores done and get water in and meet my goals. And it's like how to do it all. Well, that felt like distraction to me. What it truly is undiagnosed, not on the radar, neurodivergence, most likely ADHD, that, a person looks up and they're feeling some of these symptoms. Doesn't have to be. That's why I, again, have this, I think, very collective term of distraction. I'm overwhelmed, I'm scattered experience. It does often have an underlying experience that's something that's there. So again, and also to say with distractionism, most importantly, because if it's a neurodivergence, I don't even want to call it an issue. If that's the experience, fine. It's not so much about that even. It's about the stories we tell ourselves because of that experience. Meaning, I have moved to my new house and all of my structures and systems are totally out the door. Everything is everywhere. I have no idea what's happening, where things are. And I'm running up and down the stairs 5 times. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? And at the top of the stairs, I say something like, I'm so tired of this. I'm so stupid. Like, what's going on? Oh my gosh. That's the story that I'm telling myself versus, wow, this is a new place. There are no structures yet. And Ryane, it's okay that you've gone up and down the stairs. You're a good person. Like, it's fine. You just think about it. What is it? And then probably the thought will come versus the beating up experience. So it's really about the stories we tell ourselves. So that's a detailed way of sharing some of what the experience is like with those 3 mindsets and how those mindsets make business ownership, development, advancement, stepping into enjoyment, all the things that it could be. It holds them. It holds them hostage. And not because business is so hard. The business is challenging. It takes time and it takes thought, but it's that mindset piece that's really holding us out of success, for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like through my own experience, through my coaching, through everything that I've done, it really is that where I actually had an experience with a lady just the other day, and she was, I don't even remember what the topic was that we were talking about, but I could tell it was more of a, almost like the icing on the cake. And I was like, hold on. Explain to me what the cake is, essentially, like to kind of give it, like a weird analogy. But I'm like, what thought has you right there? Like, go deeper. Go deeper than just what you think you need to believe or what you're telling yourself. Where is that coming from? Or like, what is that core root of the actual thing that is coming up that you are telling yourself deep down inside of yourself? Because that's what's making this feel, like you said, so hard, or why you're getting stuck, or why it feels like, because when we're in that place, it doesn't matter how many clients we get. It doesn't matter, how great our kids are or anything. All the external stuff doesn't matter how good or bad it is, really. It's what we're telling ourselves. And if we don't learn to figure out, what am I saying to myself? What is my internal dialogue? And then, let me start catching those things and flipping the script. then we can start to progress into bigger and better and being able to enjoy and feel those things that are better for us and being able to see things the way they really are. Like, oh, I just launched my business a month ago. I don't have a line of people, waiting to work with me. I must be a failure. No. On average, it takes minimum 6 months. Normally it's more like 9 months to a year to get that consistency of clients that are wanting to work with you. It takes time to plant those seeds. It takes time for the momentum to start going. And that's the whole reason I started the group coaching program that I have and this podcast both, is because I was getting so sick of the, I don't want to say fake, but the fake stuff that was out there that almost made it seem like, oh, well, overnight you can, have one post go viral and you'll be a millionaire and your whole business will just work for you. And, all these things that people say that, because if we are telling ourselves, oh, if I have one post go viral, I'll be successful and everything will work perfect. Well, then our whole entire, of course, we're never going to, in our mind, be successful because we're never going to have that one post that goes crazy viral that fixes everything in our life. Like, it's just not going to happen. And so, it was those types of fakeness and not reality that I was like, I got so over it that I was like, I'm going to do something about it. Like, I am ready to step into explaining and helping people understand what this really looks like. Like, what does it really look like day to day to build a business and to grow a business and to work with clients? And then the other side of that, in the community that I've built, the reason I built that is because in my own business, as I was doing it on my own, I kept feeling like a crazy person because of a lot of those things I would hear of, like, whatever it was that I would kind of latch onto and then be like, well, that it didn't happen that way for me. Am I doing something wrong? I feel like I'm doing things correctly. My clients are happy. But then I research stuff and it's not the way that the research is showing me it quote unquote should be. And so I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm creating my own community so we can help each other. And now anytime I'm in the community and we're all like supporting each other and coaching and talking, and all of a sudden you don't feel like a crazy person anymore. You realize, wait, everyone else's experiences are very similar to mine. And I'm not the only one out there thinking, well, I didn't have a post go viral, or the pantries and the people I'm helping aren't 10,000 square foot homes that are, these crazy wealthy people that look perfect in the after photos. Like, it's okay to just have the floor be shown in an after photo. And the fact that you helped your client be able to go from chaotic room to now everything at least has a place in that room. Didn't buy one bin whatsoever, but we decluttered and we made it functional. That's a win. And it's those little mindset shifts that are so huge to me. My purpose, my passion, my everything, that I want people to understand exactly what you're saying. It's all about those little mindset thoughts and where are they coming from? What are you thinking? And then, is it serving you? If it's not serving you, then pick a different thought that is serving you. Calling all passionate professional organizers. Whether you are just getting started or you've been doing this for a while, our revamped professional organizers coaching community is open, and I am inviting you to be a part of this journey. For just $47 a month, brace yourself for an enhanced experience that's designed exclusively for you. Every Tuesday evening and the second Sunday of each month at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, we will meet. Throughout the month, you'll immerse yourself in one impactful group coaching session every single week and a guest workshop every single month. Plus, we have our own app to support each other in between those sessions. We know that life gets busy, so our replay vault ensures that you won't miss a moment. Plus, remember, your membership fee qualifies as a legitimate business expense, making it a smart tax write-off. Our community offers unwavering support, accountability, and boundless inspiration. Your journey is our journey, and together we'll thrive. You no longer have to walk this road alone. Our professional organizers community is your tribe.
You are an excellent coach. You are an excellent, I want to affirm that for you. You are an excellent, excellent coach, and your people are blessed to work with you. Hands down, they're blessed to work with you, because that is the whole issue. It is, what are you thinking, and is that thought serving you? I mean, those pieces, and what to replace it with. And those are the three pieces that you just said, like in all the various orders, and it almost doesn't even matter what order you say it in. It is that ability to be able to recognize the distinction between faith, right? Fully anticipating this to happen. I am excited about this. I know this is going to happen. This is totally my jam. I'm in it. And then that very sudden and yet like almost amoeba-ish creeping in bipolar experience of like, frozen. Oh my God, I didn't know what to do. This is too scary. And in between is where all of our energy is just zapped. That ping pong match between I know I can and the fear that's there. And if a person is identifying with these mindsets, which are habits, they're habits of thinking. So taking like a collection of, let's say, like symptoms of thinking. So like self-doubt, procrastination, let's throw in there a sense of like, I'm going to get caught and I don't feel like I'm enough. Well, categorically, that's imposter syndrome, right? So that's a habit. That's a way of seeing the world. That is a category of belief systems. If that's the case, or perfectionism, distractionism, heaven forbid, a person like me, all three, there's a web, a really sticky, invisible web that a person feels. They're not really trapped there, but it's trapped, and then it's their subconscious mind. 95%, this is what the science says, 95 to 99% of the decisions and how we make them and why we make them live in our blind spots. They live in our blind spots. They're just running the show. And they're outdated beliefs. They're outdated understandings of the world. They're outdated understandings of ourselves. It is said that 98% of our thoughts are the same as yesterday's thoughts. So that means that until there's a paradigm shift, or until there's a mindset shift, someone is thinking the same thoughts that they've thought since like the third grade. I've had the experience in third grade where I had a traumatic experience in school. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to want to be exposed again in that way. And I agreed, oh, I must be a failure. Didn't even realize it until 30 years later. I'm peeling back the onion of like, why does it feel so difficult to be me and be so difficult to like accept that I've built a business and it's functioning and I've got people, I've made an impact, all the things you listed. Why is that such a disconnect? Oh, well, because in the recesses of my mind, which creates my reality, I have this agreement with myself that I'm failing. So every single thing that I see is stamped and embossed with that thought. How are you failing? How many clients do you have? How much money did you make? Until that thought was eradicated, that belief was eradicated, i.e. I found it, I identified it, I sat with it. Oh my gosh, this is so painful. This is causing all this disruption. Exactly what you said. Is this serving me anymore? And then if I don't think this, what am I going to think? I had to create a new thought. The new thought was, I'm in process and I'm in progress. And that's it. That's it. You cannot fail at something you're creating. Now, I'll also say that I am a believer of the work. I'm a believer of coaching. That process was very intricately interwoven with my own coach's support and help. Mm-hmm. And I say that because, we look at people like Beyonce and Oprah and Samantha who created Spanx and all these other people who like do all these amazing things. And how did they get there? Well, they got there through a lot of support, a whole team of people who helped them think differently. Might not have given them a break, might not have given them access, but help them think differently. And that's what it's about, thinking differently. So I have somebody that I pay handsomely to help me think differently, because I too, as much as I know, I'm human. And my own blind spots are 95 to 99% of who and what I am and the decisions that I make. So, I'm in the work and I see the work making such a tremendous difference in my own life. And then to be able to support people and making a tremendous difference in their own life. Again, I just want to say that your folks are blessed to have you, because
you.
exactly what you're saying is the way out of the quicksand of those mindset traps. Absolutely.
Thank you. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, the reason that everything has hit home with me so much is because of everything I've walked. Exactly what you're saying. I've had to walk this journey myself with my own coaches and figure these things out. And it really does make a difference whenever you have that support and those people. But I remember when I first started getting certified as a life coach and doing all the life coaching things. And the first time I heard it said that I could choose the thoughts I was thinking, like my mind was blown, which sounds so ridiculous looking back at it now, or like, thinking about it now. But in that moment, I was so stuck. Like I had no idea I was so stuck in exactly what you said, thinking probably 100% of the same thoughts every single day. And until someone pointed out to me, like, you can choose a different thought. And I was like, I can? We've all been taught all of the stuff we've thought from, like you said, since childhood. And so we just don't even think about what we're thinking about. And then that's creating our reality. And then, of course, one day looks like the next, which looks like the next, until that's disrupted somehow. And some, amazing person is like, listen, choose your thoughts. Like, you can choose a different thought. And it literally is life changing when you realize that you can choose a different thought. And when you do choose that different thought, it literally leads to a different reality for yourself.
1,000%. 1,000%. And the thing that's so profound about coaching is that it's a guided experience where someone's helping you to really sit with, is that a true belief about yourself? Do you really need to be on social media? Do you really need that one post to go viral to have a business? Plenty of people had businesses before the internet. So is that true? Like, is that, like you said, the icing on the cake? Like, what's underneath that? What's underneath that belief? What's underneath what's happening here? And when we're able to sit with that and we're able to really come to terms with that, and it's not comfortable. It's generally not comfortable. But what coaching provides is an opportunity and a guided person who is trained to help navigate that conversation. What's amazing and the gift of life is every opportunity gives us the opportunity to think differently, right? It's like sometimes it's not until coaching where we're like, oh, someone actually says the same thing for me. The question was, are you your own best friend? Same thing. Boom. Mind blown. Like, oh my God, no, I'm toxic inside myself. I'm nice to everybody else, but I'm toxic to me. And so it was like, well, you have the opportunity to do that. It was the same, like, mind shift of I get to choose like my thoughts, how to be in relationship with me. It's like, wow. So coaching oftentimes gives someone the opportunity to like kind of rip that Band-Aid off of like, oh, I have the permission to, I didn't even have the awareness to. But when we really, and not but, because it's not counter. And when we think about life is always about the opportunity to choose. I'm looking at like this water glass. Am I going to look at it as, is it screaming back at me, you haven't drank enough water today because you're failing? Or when I look at it, am I saying, I'm so appreciative that I have a system that I've put into place that I can fill up that water bottle and I can get the water that I need. Every single thing gives us the choice of, am I going to look at this as I'm failing, or I'm going to look at this as I'm succeeding. I'm in process. Life is good. It's all fine. And every single thing has the capacity to do that. What coaching does do is it accelerates that. It helps a person to see, oh, gosh, I've been looking at that water bottle all my life and it's been screaming at me failure. And I didn't even know because it was the oxygen I was breathing. How do we know what we're believing if we're believing it, right? So it really helps to peel back that layer of, oh, and it teaches a person, oh, this is how to, as you said, think about what we're thinking about. It gives you the tools to do that, the space to do that. it gives you the tools to really thinking about reframing. If that thought isn't serving, what new thought will serve? What to replace that with? And then the momentum gaining of how to sustain that, how to consistently get out of our own way. Because again, the next thought or the next great idea is the next opportunity to either hold back, oh no, or oh yes, right? So it's, and again, all of that lives in our blind spot. So somebody being able to say, oh yeah, remember that perfectionism? Is that the mirror that's kind of shining back at you right now? Oh, right. There it is again. Didn't even realize that coach is really able to highlight that for us. So I love that you are and organizing is something that's so very vital within our lives. And sure, you must talk so much about our spaces and places reflecting our inner well-being and who we are. So, I mean, this is huge what you're doing. So that mindset piece is intricately tied to unlocking the brilliance of your people who are unlocking the brilliance of other people, literally, like tangibly with this type of information. It's so important. So important.
Yeah. And honestly, that's why everything I'd ever seen with organizing, it was all about just the physical stuff, like the physical environment. And I immediately realized when I started organizing with clients, I'm like, hold on, this isn't physical. It's emotional. And, and so and mindset. And so that's whenever I got certified as a life coach. And, long story short, once I got to this place, I'm like, that's what the world needs, is more organizers that, if I can help them and help teach them what I have learned in the fact that when you pair life coaching with organizing, you are not only helping them with their physical stuff, you are also helping shift entire family situations. And I mean, there's so many layers to what it can do and who it can bless and who it can help. And it's everything. I love it. What I love the most, though, is that the women that are drawn to me, they have the same heart because, energy draws energy of similar energy. And they want to help people just as much as I do. And they get the fact that it's not just the physical stuff. Now, we still enjoy a good, clear bin with a label, of course, always. But, at the same time, understanding that sometimes just giving our clients some time to talk something out that maybe they've been holding on to forever, or whatever those pieces are, like they're so interwoven and so good, which is why I knew if I could figure out a way to, not just for my organizing clients, but to teach others to do what I've done, which is partner the life coaching with the organizing, that's how lives are going to be changed. Because we can make your space pretty all day long, like how on some of the shows and stuff, oh, you just leave for the day, we'll make your space perfect, and you come back home. Okay, great. But what does it look like 6 months from now? It probably went back to the way it was before. And even if it's still the same way it was, there was no growth. There was nothing shifted except your space got pretty. But there was no actual growth when there's so much more that can happen in this process with our clients of helping them not only have their space be functional and help them that way, but also to help them grow as humans and as people and as women. And just, there's so many layers. And which is why I wanted to have you on today. And I'm so grateful that you came on the show, because I love what you're doing and how, you are all about accelerating that process and helping other women to do that. And so could you please share with everyone your links or where they can find you, all the things?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me, I guess, on your show. When we connected via the web, I too felt that deep connection with organizing specifically and mindset. And cannot echo an exact, ditto, 1,100% of what you just stated, Samantha, because it is an emotional belief relationship that we have with our things. And it's all mental. It's all emotional. Those are the same, mental, emotional, it's a relationship. And when we can really identify what that is, the physical almost takes care of itself, because it's living through that clear, authentic, freed up state of being. It's so vital what you're doing. Thank you for that. So how can people get in touch with me if they're interested in extending today's conversation? One is I offer a discovery call. If anyone wants to connect and really do a deep dive, and you can find that on my website, which is inspirebrandconsulting.com/gift would be for a discovery call. The main website where you could also take a free quiz and get a sense of which one of these confidence killers might be your top one. The free quiz is at the website, which is www.inspirebrandconsulting without the backslash. So those are there as two opportunities, free, opportunities, a quiz and a call. And then of course I'm on social media under Inspire Brand Consulting on Instagram, on Facebook. I also have similarly, a community that I am reimagining called the Inner Circle, which is very similar in terms of supporting a group around mindset. So there's a lot of different ways that I can connect with people from, everything, a quiz, a very quick touch point to a call to staying engaged through social media.
I love it. Yeah. And we'll make sure, I will share all of the links in the show notes or in the description below. So then that way it makes it super simple for anyone that wants to get any of those things you were just talking about. But thank you, Ryane, so much for being on the show and for all of the work that you're doing and, helping business owners and women. And, it's a calling and it's a gift, but it's also a gift that I can tell you have put in the work for, just as I have. And that's great because once we do put in that work, that's when we are able to turn back and bless women and pull them along forward with us as well.
Absolutely. It's a blessing to know you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you to the listening audience.
And thank you for listening, and we will catch you in the next one. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Go to proorganizerscoach.com to find all the ways that we can help you succeed in your business. Remember, you have the power to make a difference in people's lives through decluttering and organization. So keep honing your skills, embracing those challenges, and fostering connections. Girl, you've got this.